for Dave Softy Mahler, because the showdown is coming up Saturday at Levi's. The Seahawks and their incredible defense rolling in to take on the Niners, and Dave is rolling in on the Yuma guest line. Dave, great to talk to you. Thanks for making time for us. It's the showdown, the Week 18 showdown. We weren't sure if Week 18 was going to have meaning. It has meaning, brother.
Yeah, well, first of all, I apologize for being late. Apparently, to answer your phone, you have to realize it's ringing. It's a new thing. I just picked it up myself. So I apologize for the delay. But, what's funny, dude, is that for months and months, weeks and weeks, it was all about the Seahawks and the Rams, and the Niners just kept hanging around, man. All these crazy injuries you guys got down there, everything you've gone through, you kept hanging around, and now we're going to see each other on Saturday night. I don't know why this game is not Sunday night. I think it's ridiculous that, the Seahawks flying back from the East Coast, obviously, number one seed on the line. You would expect that the NFL would want both teams to be as rested as possible. Playing this game on Saturday seems a little bit idiotic to me, but whatever. So we're ready to rock and cannot wait for Saturday at 5 o'clock, big boy.
Well, tell us, Dave, about this Seahawks team. They're 13-3. They're almost better on the road, right? They're 7-1 on the road, but we haven't seen you guys since week 1, and I'm sure there have been a lot of changes since then. It's still Darnold. It's still JSN, but it looks like Charbonnet is kind of more the number one back than Walker, or is it really a 50-50 split?
No, Charbonnet's kind of become the guy, and I don't know, man. I got to think that Kenny Walker, K9, might be on kind of his last legs in Seattle, It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it. I mean, I look at Kenny Walker, and I see a guy that should be catching, 40, 50 passes a year out of the backfield, kind of using him the same way that the Niners use McCaffrey, and that just, for whatever reason, has not materialized, man. So, they've got a nice 1-2 punch with K9 and Charbonnet, but I kind of feel like Charbonnet's overtaking Kenny Walker as kind of the number one dude, and they trust him a little more, maybe in pass pro, than they do Kenny Walker. For whatever reason, they just don't want to give Kenny Walker the football like we all think he deserves to get the football. I mean, this is a guy who obviously, has not had more than, 15 carries more than 1 or 2 times the entire year. And that's going back early in the season. So it really has been the Zach Charbonnet show. There's no question about that. But it's funny that you mentioned that there's been a lot of changes to this football team since week 1, and there really haven't been a lot of changes. I mean, they went out and they got Rashid Shaheed at the deadline, from the Saints, and he kind of basically won the Rams game with that punt return touchdown and that jet sweep on the next drive that put him in the, field goal range. But outside of him, it's the same team that you guys saw in week 1. It's the same offensive line. It's the same secondary. There really have not been any real changes to anything of note, except for going out and getting Rashid Shaheed and getting a couple of guys maybe healthy again. But this is pretty much the same team that you guys saw in week 1. They're just playing better.
Darnold's been sacked 7 times the last 2 weeks. Is that on him? Is it on the O-line? I mean, he's had some weird games. He's had a 4-pick game this year against the Rams. How do you feel about Sam Darnold? How do the Seahawks fans up there feel about Darnold in the year he's had?
I think a lot of people are nervous about him. He's giving the ball away way too much. I mean, I think everybody agrees with that. I mean, he's got more turnovers and more giveaways than any quarterback in the NFL when you include fumbles and interceptions. We actually had a conversation the other night after your game, after the Bears game, about, which fan base trusts their quarterback more. And for as much crap as some people down there I know have been giving Purdy over the years, I get the sense that Niner fans probably trust Brock Purdy as a whole more than Seahawks fans trust Sam Darnold right now. But here's the thing. They're continuing to win games. I mean, the guy gives the ball away, at an alarming rate, but the defense just keeps bailing them out over and over and over and over again. I mean, you go back to that loss against the Rams, that 21-19 loss back in the middle of November against the Rams. And, since then, Sam Darnold's got 8 interceptions. He's got a couple fumbles, obviously, to 8 touchdowns. So he's not been great. He's got a passer rating of barely over 80 in the last 7 games, but they're 6-1 in those 7 games. I mean, again, Larry, if I would have told you a month and a half ago that Sam Darnold's going to have a 7-game stretch where he's got a passer rating of 81.5 with 15 sacks and 8 touchdowns and 8 picks and barely over 7 yards of throw. You would have thought the Hawks were terrible, but they're not. They're 6-1 because their defense is just unbelievable, man. Their defense will kind of remind a lot of people of what the defense looked like in 2013 when they played you guys in the NFC Championship. I mean, they just don't allow points, man. I mean, the 37 points they gave up against the Rams, was a anomaly, for this football team. They just don't do things like that. So Sam Darnold gives the football away a lot, but the defense, dude, Larry, every time just bails this guy out right and left. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it's a really good defense. One quick one on JSN. He is spectacular. And you guys had DK Metcalf, and I'm sure, especially in the last couple of weeks, you're probably thrilled that you no longer have DK Metcalf. But how have teams tried to take JSN away? Because, Kupp's there, but he's an older guy. Now you got a legitimate second guy in Rashid Shaheed. But are teams doubling JSN, or is there any team that's had success taking him away at all?
No, and it's crazy. It just defies logic. I mean, I've been sitting here for the last 2 months just waiting for someone to bracket this guy, waiting for someone to press this guy, waiting for someone to put an elbow right in his mouth in the line of scrimmage and, pop a forearm into his chest on the line of scrimmage, and nobody's been able to do it, dude. It's incredible. They just every single week, the guy is good for 8-9 catches and 85, 90 plus, if not 100 plus yards and a touchdown. It's just amazing what this guy's been able to do. And I don't really understand it. Nobody's been able to take him away, either A, because they're concerned about Cooper Kupp, or they're concerned about Rashid Shaheed, or they're concerned about A.J. Barner, who has kind of come on a little bit as of late as their number one tight end. But, I mean, he's not a real gigantic threat in the passing game. So I'm just kind of baffled, man, as to how this guy every single week continues to just dominate opposing defenses. And honestly, I mean, I'm not trying to be a smartass here, but I mean, watching your defense just get picked apart by Caleb Williams last night, I wouldn't have a lot of confidence the Niners can slow this guy down on Saturday because nobody else has. I mean, the guy got you for, 9 and $124 in the opener. And he's a better player now than he was in week one. He just keeps dominating every single week. So I think the Hawks are kind of drooling a little bit. Man, they have not been right offensively for the most part consistently in the last 3 games. They had the great fourth quarter in the overtime against the Rams, a couple weeks ago on Thursday night, but they won a game against the Colts where they didn't even score a touchdown. Their offense was kind of fumbling around a little bit in Carolina on Sunday. I think a lot of Seahawks fans, including me, look at your defense from Monday night and think, man, this might be the night where Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba and all these guys kind of get right a little bit, because that was like watching a freaking hot knife through butter, watching the Bears dominate that Niner defense on Monday.
No, I know. I mean, it's just there's almost no resistance, and it's like the Niners are almost in a got to outscore their opponent mode.
Right.
And now here comes Seattle with their killer D. You were there, front and center for the Legion of Boom and Pete and the Super Bowl run and the multiple appearances in the bowl. How would you compare, Dave, that defense that had, awesome Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor and really great secondary? How would you compare that D to this D?
Well, that defense probably had 3 Hall of Famers in Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, and Bobby Wagner. This defense does not have that, right? This defense is more about the scheme and communication. It's the star. The show is the coach. It's Mike McDonald. And it really has been amazing to watch. Go back to the bye last year. The Hawks were kind of, middling, their way around the NFL, and they had a bye and they had a team meeting led by Julian Love, if I'm not mistaken, who said, this crap ends now. And that was the week after the bye last year where the defense really kind of stepped it up and just started communicating better and found a way to start shutting people down. And they've been truly elite since that bye last year. I mean, look at the numbers, man. Look at the yards. Look at the points per game allowed. Look at the takeaways. I mean, the sacks. I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence was kind of done. He was DOA. His career was over. And he comes to Seattle, and the guy's a one-man freaking wrecking crew. I mean, these guys are 19-5 in their last 24 games going back to last year. And 4 of the 5 games they've lost have come by 4 points or less, and it's because of their defense. Mike McDonald is the absolute star of this show. Everywhere he goes, whether Michigan or the Baltimore Ravens or now Seattle, his defense is kicking ass, and it's the scheme, dude, because, again, they've got a couple of decent names on this football team. Devin Witherspoon's a good player. Ernest Jones is a good linebacker. You know, Tariq Woolen's really kind of turned things around the last maybe couple of months, but, you know, there's no, you know, first ballot Hall of Famer in his prime on this defense the way we had in 2013. That football team was full of stars, man, in 2013. So it really has been pretty fun and pretty impressive to watch, because the hiring of Mike McDonald after they fired Pete Carroll has paid instant dividends, especially for that defense.
Yeah, I mean, they had guys like Michael Bennett, Cliff Averill, and they don't have those guys.
Those
Who
guys
would
were
you say
backups on that 13 team, by the way?
Oh,
they weren't even starters on that team. That's how deep that line was.
Oh, it's a crazy line. Who is, if I said to you, the best player, regardless of position on this defense, if an NFL pro personnel director was drafting Seattle defenders, who would be the first pick?
Probably Devin Witherspoon. He's probably the best. He's one of the better lockdown corners in the NFL. But he's a different player when Julian Love is out there, man. Julian Love was out of the lineup for a few games in October, November. And Devin Witherspoon was kind of getting picked on a little bit. I mean, when I say picked on, I mean that in context of he still was a very good player. But now with Julian Love back there, he's an elite player, right? I mean, so I would say Devin Witherspoon. I would say Ernest Jones after him. Byron Murphy, defensive tackle, is the guy that probably got snubbed out of a Pro Bowl appearance and deserves to be a Pro Bowl player. But, you know, Devin Witherspoon, to me, if you were to say who's the star of that show, who's the one guy that you got to have locked in and that you would extend to a, 4 or 5 year contract for, top tier money, I'd say Witherspoon. So I think the matchup of Witherspoon against those wide receivers on Saturday night, to me, is one to watch. And then if George Kittle plays, obviously, right? We'll see what those linebackers can do against George Kittle. But Larry, I'm telling you, man, this scheme is so good. This defense is so fundamentally sound that seeing them get pushed around by anybody is just a major surprise. That's why we were so stunned by what was happening in that Ram game a couple weeks ago on Monday night. I mean, Sean Payton was making Mike McDonald look ridiculous in the first 3 quarters of that game, and then something clicked, man, with the punt return by Rashid Shaheed, the pressure on Stafford. I have no idea what it was, but Mike McDonald since then has been red hot.
Is it a 3? I mean, technically it's a 3-4 defense, isn't it? But I mean, yeah. They kind of look like a 4-3 look, right? Because you got Lawrence, kind of he's a rusher. I mean, he's not dropping into coverage. Do you look at this as a 3-4? Or do you look at this as kind of a, there's a lot of downs. I'm watching Seattle, Dave. They got a 5-man surface across the front. They almost look like a 5-2 kind of front. How would you describe their front?
I think they just have a lot of guys that are versatile along their front 7. And that's what makes this defense so good, is that you never know where guys are going to end up, right? Like, you never know where Leonard Williams is going to end up. You never know where Drake Thomas is going to end up. And people don't even really know who Drake Thomas is, for crying out loud. Ty Okada, is a FCS player who's been phenomenal for them at free safety. Josh Jobe, one side, the other side of Devin Witherspoon, has been unbelievable. Chenna Nwosu, who was banged up a year ago, ever since he's been back, he's been playing all over the place. So they're really versatile. They kind of remind me of a college defense in some ways, where they've got guys that can play multiple positions, inside, outside. They can cover the flat, they can cover the seam. They've got guys that can do multiple things, and there's not many defenses in the NFL like this Seahawks defense. And I don't know why so many defenses have a hard time picking up on that in doing that and mirroring what the Seahawks are doing in Seattle. It might just be finding the right talent, but for some reason, Mike McDonald's scheme and his unbelievable elite communication, which really is what makes this defense great. You rarely see guys out of position. You rarely see guys beaten badly. You rarely see wide open players against this Seahawks defense, man. We saw a lot of that, as you know, last night against Chicago, and you rarely see that with a Seahawks defense. Every time a ball player or a pass catcher or a running back in the flat ends up catching a ball, there's always somebody right there to make a play. You don't see this team miss a lot of tackles. They're very fundamentally sound, and they swarmed the ball. That's how they remind me a little bit of what 2013 was all about. But I think 2013, as much as I love Pete Carroll and that single high defense he played with Earl Thomas, they were just full of phenomenal talent. And this football team's got talent. Don't get me wrong, but not like that, man. Again, I know I've said it a couple times here, Larry, but the scheme is the star.
Yeah, I mean, and we saw it a couple years ago on Christmas night when the Ravens rolled in and befuddled the Niners and started blitzing guys off the edges and taking advantage of the Niners' condensed formations and really bothering the quarterback, dropping guys into the middle of the field. And they had some tremendous players, and they got a big win against the Niners that night. Two last ones, because I know you got dinner plans. I'll let you go.
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay, Nick Emanwari. He was the freak of freaks in the draft. And I listened to all these different draft nicks, and he's an outside backer. He's a strong safety. Now, this guy's a press man corner. No, he can play the nickel. The reality is he's just huge and fast and maybe one of the great athletes we've seen come into the draft in years. And he is balling out, is he not? Talk to us about Emanwari, what you think of him.
Well, it's really funny because I was at the Ram game a couple weeks ago, and there was a guy sitting a couple rows in front of me. I like to sit in the stands. I don't know about you, but I find the press box to be very stuffy. Anyway, I'm sitting in the stands, and there's a guy in front of me wearing a Jamal Adams jersey. And Jamal Adams is kind of like, persona non grata in Seattle, right? Kind of a clown. A lot of people remember Jamal Adams as kind of a bust, a big-time, kind of underwhelming failure after giving up 2 first-round draft picks for him. So, to see a guy wearing a Jamal Adams jersey is like, what are you doing, man? Really? Like, there was nobody else available in the closet that night to bring out. You couldn't find a Steve Largent or a Cortez Kennedy or something. What the hell, man? But my point is that Nick Emanwari is playing and doing everything that we were hoping Jamal Adams was going to do. Right? He can cover. He can rush the passer. He can take on tight ends. He can fill the gap. There's literally nothing that this guy can't do. He's like a faster, stronger, more updated, newer version of Cam Chancellor. He's not as big as Cam Chancellor was, Larry, but this is 10 years later. And this guy is unbelievable. I mean, he'll blow people up in the flat. He will literally hurt people. He will make highlight plays every single night that if the NFL was still celebrating, like they did that jacked up segment back in the day, he'd be on that segment every freaking week on ESPN. So he's doing everything that we were hoping that Jamal Adams could do. Jamal Adams could rush the passer, 100 times a year and get 10 sacks, but he couldn't do anything else. Nick Emanwari is a complete player, and it shocks me that he fell as far as he did in the draft, man.
Oh, man, you jogged a thought because Cortez Kennedy, the late Cortez Kennedy, was a friend of mine. We did a couple football camps together, and Tez, who everybody called him Tez. Tez was what a guy, dude. What a guy.
Great dude.
He was a special dude. Very special dude. You mentioned McDonald. I mean, what's he like to cover? Is he good in the media? Does he do stuff with you guys on the radio? What do you think of him as far as how he comes across?
He's not like Pete Carroll. I mean, I'll just say that. And that's okay, right? I mean, Pete Carroll was one of the all-time great communicators, salesmen, marketers in college football and in the NFL. When you combine that with a guy who clearly knew how to coach and clearly knew how to motivate people and lead people and get people to believe in themselves. I mean, he was the ultimate players coach. He made everybody feel like they were a part of what was going on over at the Seahawks. And Mike McDonald is not like that at all. I mean, if I were to describe Mike McDonald's personality, I would probably tell you that he's kind of boring, to be honest with you, right? I mean, he doesn't really offer a lot to the media, doesn't really say a lot. He's not very quotable. You know, you don't really often hear a lot of great quotes coming out of Mike McDonald. He's close to the vest, doesn't really reveal a lot in the press. I mean, he's only, 36, 37 years old, but he doesn't really give you a lot. So he's just all football. And I've heard behind the scenes with Mike McDonald that he's a massive ball buster. You know, he's gonna get on you. He's not really like Pete Carroll in that regard. You know, we had a couple of players in Torrey Horton and Julian Love that were trying to, mend themselves and avoid the IR. And I think Mike McDonald is kind of you're not hurt. Get your ass out there, rub some dirt on it, get back in there. We're not putting you on the injured list, for God's sakes. And then all of a sudden, they got no choice but to put these guys on the injured list. So 4 games, 4 weeks becomes 6 weeks because they wait to get these guys on the IR. So, it's clearly paying off. Whatever he's doing behind the scenes is really paying off. I mean, they gave up and they quit on Ryan Grubb, their offensive coordinator, after 1 year, as you know. Went out and got Clint Kubiak, made a couple changes to their offensive line, and they got a new quarterback, and things are all of a sudden totally different for this offense. They lead the league in scoring, number 1 point differential, because what they saw after a year with Ryan Grubb, they felt like wasn't working, and there's no way they were going to allow that to continue. So they said, the hell with it, fired him after a season, went out and got Kubiak, and now you see the difference.
Yeah, I mean, Clint Kubiak, Clay Kubiak. I mean, they're brothers, and the Niners OC is Clay,
right,
and the Seahawks OC is Clint, and they both may get head coaching gigs. 2 last ones on your way out. Brock Purdy. Give me your perspective on Brock Purdy. You just watched him last night. There are people that still say that he's this or that. Last time we talked a couple years ago, and you made the comparison between him and Russell and having a quarterback on a rookie deal. Obviously, those days have gone. He's no longer on that rookie deal, but give me your thoughts on Purdy and what you see from afar.
No, I just tell you what I said to you last time I was on the air with you. I think if you're a Niner fan and you're wishing for something better than Brock Purdy, I think if you're getting on Brock Purdy, I think you're an idiot. I mean, I think there's half the league would cut their hand off to have Brock Purdy as their quarterback right now. Like, do you watch football? Do you watch the NFL? Do you see the crap at quarterback that some of these teams have to roll out there every single weekend, and you're going to complain about Brock Purdy? I mean, you let Brock Purdy walk and you do what? Go do what? I mean, there's nothing out there. I mean, the quarterback position, for whatever reason, the development of the quarterback position in the NFL has ground to a halt, for God's sakes. I mean, and I think that's part of the reason, Larry, why Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones, hell, even Geno Smith a couple years ago before he kind of turned into a pumpkin. I think that's a reason why a lot of these guys are getting second and third chances, because there's just not a lot of dudes out there. And so teams are turning to players like Sam Darnold again, like Daniel Jones, like Baker Mayfield, giving them a second, third, and fourth shot. So I think you're a putz if you don't think that Brock Purdy is the right guy for the job. I would love for Brock Purdy to go down and not play in this game. That play he made at the goal line, are you kidding me, against the Bears last night? I mean, unbelievable, dude. So, look at his numbers. The guy's been on fire the last 3 weeks, absolute fire. So I'd be curious to know if there's a dipstick 49er fan that wants to get rid of Brock Purdy. What's your plan to get rid of that guy, to replace him? What's your plan to replace him, smart guy? Because you look around the NFL, and again, 10, 12 teams would cut their hand off to have Brock Purdy playing quarterback for him right now. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Hey, if you're ripping Brock Purdy, you're a, what was the word? Putz? You're a putz.
You're a putz.
I love that. I got to use putz more. I
mean, look at the injuries the guys
putz.
had to deal with, man. Look at the injuries.
I know. It's crazy.
It's ridiculous. I mean, Sam Darnold, I'll tell you, he's been fairly lucky with his injuries. The offensive line, for the most part, has been healthy the entire year. Running back, Charbonnet Walker, been healthy the entire year. Cooper Kupp was banged up a little bit, but they went out and got, Rashid Shaheed to replace him, and they went out and got Torrey Horton, and he was playing okay before he went on the IR. So, not that I'm any kind of Niner apologist here, but my God, I mean, Brock Purdy's had way more injuries to deal with than Sam Darnold has. So, I mean, look, we're going to find out Saturday night, what Brock Purdy is all about against a really, really good defense, because I think part of what I saw Saturday, Larry, and I don't know what your thought is, but part of what I saw Saturday was a bad defense in Chicago, at least not as good as the Seahawks defense. This is an elite defense. These guys are really good. They are really good, man. I mean, it's gotten to a point now with us in Seattle where we expect this defense to lead the way every single freaking week. Every single week we expect this defense to hold teams to the high teens, low 20s at the most. And I think you're going to see an elite defense in person on Saturday, and I'm curious to see how you guys respond.
Oh, I know. It's going to be very, very interesting. If the Seahawks win, I would imagine they're going to win because of their defense. If the Seahawks
100%.
lose, Dave, if they lose, why will they lose?
They'll lose because Sam Darnold gives away the football near his own goal line. He'll fumble the ball, he'll get sacked, and he'll lose the football, and he'll give short fields to Brock Purdy. In San Francisco, they'll lose because they can't run the ball, which consistently has been typically a problem for them in general terms. Yeah, there's been days like the Carolina game where the run game was good, but generally they've had a harder time running the ball this year than they have throwing the ball. I mean, I just think they are who they are right now. You know, they're a team that's not very good at running the football, mediocre at best at running the ball, and they've got a problem with their quarterback giving the football away. So, you know, look, man, I mean, this is a football team that is so good on defense that Sam Darnold threw 4 interceptions against the Rams 2 weeks ago, and they were a 61-yard field goal away from winning the game. They had no right to be in that game, none, against a really good team. That was a month ago. That was the first game against the Rams. 4 picks, and Jason Myers misses a 61-yard field goal that probably should have been closer, but they had some clock management stuff that they messed up on that final drive. That was Rashid Shaheed's, I think, first game as a Hawk, and they had some problems getting them lined up properly in the fourth quarter. That led to them kind of, you know, being a little bit off with their clock management. But that's how good this defense is, that they've been able to overcome Sam Darnold giving the football away, and they still are 6-1 in their last 7 games, man. So if they're going to lose, they're going to lose because their quarterback gives the ball away and they can't run the ball, period.
Yeah, awesome to rip to. Are you coming out?
No,
are you going to be there Saturday?
But I'm going to save my money for another game at Levi's Stadium in February. I'll come down for that one.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, what's that going to be like? Honestly, what's that going to feel like if the Seahawks play in the Super Bowl at Levi's Stadium and thousands of Seahawks fans are invading Santa Clara and San Francisco for the Super Bowl, and we win the game, and then they plant their flag on the 50-yard line of that stadium? How's that going to feel for Niner fans?
Yeah, that's not going to be good, but, you know, I don't anticipate that happening.
Really? Why not?
No, I really.
Why wouldn't you anticipate that happening?
Because I don't believe in Sam Darnold. The same reason that Sam Darnold, you know, I didn't like him at SC. The same reason I didn't love him when he was here. He turns the ball over a lot. And the bigger the game, it seems like the more he struggles. Last one on the way out.
He's also won
Seahawks are number 2
games in 2 years, by the way, Larry.
I know, he's good. He's
won
got some talent.
games in 2 years.
And he's got the best receiver going. Seattle's number 2 in points. They're number 2 in points allowed. So they on statistically, they look like the team. If I say to you, Dave, Super Bowl 60, how do you see the playoffs? Do you see Seattle rampaging? Do you see another team that you fear in the NFC? And who do you like in the AFC? Give me your thoughts on the playoffs.
I don't fear anybody in the NFL. I think the parity in the NFL is about as good as it's ever been. I mean, the NFL does, Larry, as you know, the NFL does parity better than anybody, right? I mean, from year to year, everybody getting a shot. You know, this is not like baseball or the NBA or whatever, but this is ludicrous what's happening right now. I mean, I could see in the NFC, I could see the Niners, I could see the Seahawks, I could see LA, I could see Chicago, I could see Philadelphia getting their act together and getting hot. In the AFC, I could see Denver, I could see Buffalo. Honestly, if the Ravens can find a way to get in, I could see them finding a way to get hot. I could definitely see the Patriots making a run. There's probably 8 or 9 teams that I could see Denver literally playing in the Super Bowl. The only division I don't think has any shot of getting anybody there is the NFC South. I mean, Carolina, we saw them up close and personal on Sunday. They're terrible. They're not a good football team. They look to me like a team that was in first place because the rest of the division stinks. And that's exactly what that's reality. So that's the only division in the NFL, honestly, where I would be very surprised if their champion made the Super Bowl. So it's wide open. It's as wide open as it's ever been in my life, I think, in the NFL. And if you're writing off the Seahawks because you don't believe in Sam Darnold, I'll just say this, that you got every right to feel that way. There's a lot of logic, Larry, behind that opinion. Normally your opinions don't have any logic at all, but that one does have some logic. But I will just tell you this, that this defense might be so good. Honestly, dude, this defense in Seattle might be so good that it might not matter what Sam Darnold looks like.
Wow. Here's $100 bill. You're in the middle of a casino. You have to pick an AFC team and an NFC team. One. Who you going? Who's getting the money?
I'd take the Hawks because of their defense in the NFC, and I'm still going to take the Buffalo Bills in the AFC.
Wow, you're a real believer in the Bills.
Yeah, we'll take Buffalo.
Wow. I'm going Niners, Pats.
The other night, that loss the other night might be the best thing for him, the Eagles loss.
Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I don't like his defense. I don't like his weapons. I think Josh Allen is a great quarterback that's not surrounded by a lot. But I do have great respect for Josh, and he could elevate for sure. Got great respect for you too, Dave. I appreciate you jumping on my radio show here. We appreciate you on KMBR. I'm sure that your phone's going to be ringing. There's multiple stations. There's multiple. Everybody's going to want a bite of Dave Softy Mahler. I'm just glad as Gary used to say, we got there first. We got there first.
Fine. You got there first, but it's been so long you don't even remember it. So what's that worth to you? Honestly,
all right, brother.
You were what? The last time they won a title, you were what? 45, 50 years old?
Last time it was 1995 and I was 25.
94, right?
94 season, February. I was 25. I was born in 70.
25.
So I'm 55 now. It's been 30 years.
Look at you now. You're sitting here in the middle of the night talking to Dave Softy Mahler.
It's not the middle of the night. And look at this.
Where your career's gone.
Hey, I got through this entire interview, no references to the Princess Leia and the Star Wars action figures and all that crap that you got at your house. We uncovered the real Dave Softy Mahler on YouTube once upon a time. How's the Star Wars collection coming? Any new items for Christmas?
No, nothing new. No, I've basically been told by my wife that I got to grow up. So
that's awesome. All right, brother. Hey, man, nothing but love. Happy New Year. You guys are going down in a big, bad way Saturday night. Enjoy it on the tube.
All right, bud. We'll talk soon.
We'll talk soon. Dave Softy Mahler, who's the host of the Softy and Dick Show, and I'm not joking. That's the name of his show on KJR, the King of Seattle, stopping by. All right.